Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Vodafone, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Gain Fuel, HyperX, Bedway, and Pay Safeguard. Vodafone presents the pre-match.
It was over in Boston just a year ago, January 28th to be precise, where Cloud9 and FaZe clashed in the grand final of the major. North American soil and North American victors, Cloud9 did triumph and were plagued by underperformances, unable to match the peak they reached over in Boston. Now, Cloud9 are back and better than ever, but with a very different roster, and now against the ropes. FaZe Clan, their opponents again. They've mixed and matched a little bit in their roster, and we're going to be seeing one of them fall and one of them lock themselves in for the top 8. Just one spot and 2 teams. Now, before I go ahead and set the scene and talk to my analysts about how this one's going to shape up, vetoes and all of that good stuff, we're going to go ahead and head over to the couch for some very special analysis and a bit of Counter-Strike chit-chat. Why don't we go ahead and see what Trace has managed to rummage around and find over on the players area.
Yeah, you know, Alex, thank you very much. First and foremost, I just want to say it's a very complex situation. I guess we could easily summarize that. I do have some guests here, very special ones indeed. And they happen to all know each other, so that works out very well, I think.
Great transition there. Smooth.
Hey, I'm learning from some of the best around here. That's about how it goes.
Yeah. Enjoying your time on the desk, huh?
Not about me, Jordan. It's about you. Let's talk about you guys.
Here.
Now, my whole life, that's a different story. That could take minutes and a half.
I think we could probably break down your life.
You could probably individually already have broke down my life in different ways. But for what it's worth, we did see a hell of a game yesterday from you guys. You guys really exceeded all expectations coming into this tournament. And, well, unfortunately, as the story is told, you run into FaZe, and then you have this just banger of a matchup.
I'm kind of upset that your expectations weren't higher for us.
I didn't say me personally. Let's not point fingers around here. That's where things get a little...
Yeah. That was a good match. We were glad to take it where it was, take it to the third map, 16-14. Get to that point. Obviously upset with how it ended up, but, you know, of course, you know, we could look at all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, which I know you're going to want to do a couple of, but...
There will be time for that, absolutely. And perhaps we can start that off right now. We've actually selected some of the footage from yesterday and some of the things that maybe were pointed out or not pointed out, or maybe we wanted to just get your perspectives on this, because that's not something that's very often thrown out there. I mean, we can break it down on the analyst desk all day for what it's worth, but hearing Jordan Gilbert, Shazib, and Mr. Sean all in the same place is just, it's a real delight.
Pull Band-Aids off real quick.
No Band-Aids necessary. All right, let's roll that footage and start talking some Counter-Strike, because I think it's about time for us to at least take a look at where this all comes down the line. And for what it's worth, there were some very interesting things that we could see from the outside. Jordan, right in this moment, tell me about your whole life.
Tell me about, well, you see, I got the AK right there, best spawn. Going long, basically, if you get long A control in a round like this, a lot of times they don't have a lot of nades. They're force buying. It's very common for teams to force buy in the second round. You can see I'm thinking about throwing a flash, and then I realize, you know, I'm just going to take the dry fight. I get one. I see the other guys here. They're peeking me. No damage to me down yet, so I just stay tall with the fights, get naded, doing my thing, pulling out nades in the open. You know how I do.
Yeah.
We get a 5v3 situation right here. So what happens is Rory kind of, he admitted a little bit. He made a little boo-boo right here. Unnecessary play where he assumed they were already rotated.
Now, pause it right here if you can. The real thing here is that Pimp spotted out the 1v1s, and I kind of want to ask you guys about the comms and sort of how it all goes down in that moment. Not exactly.
Maybe you remember better than me, Shaz. I remember like 2 things maybe.
Yeah,
like,
there were like
don't peek, then peek.
Multiple miscomms here, so it's a 5v3. We're out long. You know, Jordan got those 2 kills, and you know we're supposed to reset. You know, they're forced to make plays and make peeks. We can get the scout in the pit and then progress from there. Throw deep smokes or something. Instead, some people wanted to swing and fight because when Rory walked out mid, which he owned up to immediately after as a mistake, he said there were 2 mid. So like, okay, we should scale quick, scale quick. So I see Ricky out wide swinging, fighting, right?
Just out there.
And I'm like, oh man, I got to go help him. So I peek to trade 2. And then the other 2 guys are getting ready to smoke and wait. And like that kind of miscomm just caused it to...
And then I didn't peek long because I was like 50 damage. And I heard the call that I was like, I wanted to wait. And then it's a classic thing of... a little too many ideas and a little too hasty. I think overall, just the settling down was needed.
Yeah, because I think if you had to do it all over again, you'd probably have Shaz get in the pit,
Throw
hold
one
from
flash.
the right side of pit, and then you guys scale up on the left wall probably and throw a flash.
Either do a flash like that, or if he keeps getting fought, maybe from top A, right, you would maybe throw smokes.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously that one didn't necessarily break down in your way, but
Still early in the match, luckily, but it was
Yeah.
unfortunate. We could have started off cleaner.
But I mean, it does really only take one round to kind of snowball and get things going in one direction.
Yeah.
In the other way, I guess the viewers at home, they probably don't understand what it is that when you guys get done with a matchup like this, for example, for that round in specific, when you go back and review that, what is the process for reviewing a demo?
I mean, you look at like what the plan was the original round and like what people can remember what the comm was, the comms were, and like you try to take that context and kind of break down like the different mistakes. So like the first big mistake I would say was Def walking out mid there in a 5v3. You know, I think he heard the two guys rotate CT and he assumed that they wouldn't care about mid, but I forgot which player was aware. And then from there, you know, we need to be on the same page about progressing up long there. It's a 5v3. We're not supposed to rush into anything and just follow the game plan.
Yeah, I mean, as an in-game leader yourself at one point, I think that you're probably on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're both correct. Like, Def probably shouldn't have gone out mid. Ricky shouldn't have swung wide long. And at that point, you know, everyone's just trying to trade off of each other and play off of each other.
And trying to get something going back in the round. Well, let's keep looking in here because we actually have round 14-14. And I think when we talk about this game, first, we need to just kind of set a preface here. Nico went nuts for a while. Fair?
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny. As like his opponent in the match, we were kind of laughing because he wasn't playing that well. But like before this point, right? Like he wasn't. His team was like doing all right, but you know they have better performances in them. So this round they rushed long. We don't have a great buy. We probably should have saved, but we thought, hey, we could get away with kind of like a cheeky buy. This unfortunately happens to Rick right there. I end up getting a kill, but the whole play this whole round is Rory pushing top mid. So if we want to pause, if we can pause production, I don't know if we have the ability right now.
We do.
We're right here. And then I'll let Shaz take it away because it's kind of funny. So you get this kill. I don't know if we're going to be able to stop. Shaz, just keep going with it.
Yeah, so the whole play was supposed to revolve around Rory that saved the AUG, pushing off Cat because they knew that like a really slow default. He's got that opening, flank them long.
7 HP.
We committed a bit too much on the fights long because we wanted to throw nades and like contest it and make sure that we had their attention so he could flank around, because if we didn't, then they would be like, okay, wary of it. And then from that point, we kind of misplayed the trade battle at long, as well as we weren't sure how many were out long. The comm to Def was that there was only one more long.
Kill.
So
and then they just showed the double kill right there.
Yeah. And
so
then,
they didn't. Shaz spotted him lower. I'll just from that perspective. And then I was actually watching Peter's screen, and I think because it's a 1-on-2, he didn't expect Nico like to just do that. Like they knew they had space at long, so Peter's probably like, oh, I'm just gonna hold this. And I remember watching a screen, and like you can tell it kind of caught him off guard, which is unfortunate because Peter is so on point in many other situations.
And just to clarify, when you say Peter, you're obviously talking about Stanislaw.
Stanislaw, yes, correct.
Yeah. In hindsight, round 14-14, how would you have approached it differently?
Well, we could have either saved straight up and went for like a more stronger buy on the tie round to OT, or I don't know if maybe we should have just let Rory fight that guy along. You saw him take all off to 7, and we told him to fall back to mid. Like we're like, hey, take away to mid. So like he might have got that kill, which might have forced Nico to like not smoke mid ramp because he smoked out that because he knew Rory was flanking him, and then he might have just been more vulnerable to getting traded by Shaz and Stan. But it's looking back like that, it's so bad. Like you said on the eco round, the only things you could really take away from review are high level things, because if you get too specific, it's like you need that situation might not come again. You just got to look at the protocols, let the guy maybe play next time.
And Sean, what's your take on this 14-14 scenario we have here?
Oh, well, I think they had a pretty cool idea, you know, playing long heavy and then Rory flanking long like that. I think he probably could have gone back to T-spawn, but it's literally just a judgment call at that point.
Right. And, okay, let's round out this entire matchup, right? 15-14, you know, dare I say, balls to the wall.
Veto's coming in.
Everything has went chaotic. And as the Veto's flying for this Cloud9 phase game, was it a calm at the end that you guys knew they were going to be running off on long? Is that how that all panned out in the end?
Well,
so we didn't know what their
14-14?
play was going to be at the start of the round for that round. And so it was like, we knew we wanted to contest it, to take attention for Rory, but we also kind of played it wrong because we miscommed to him and told him there was only one more out long. So that's why he didn't commit to that fight flanking. He was worried about being flanked from T-spawn.
Yeah.
Well,
might have been a miscomm.
Well, the miscomms, it's Counter-Strike, right? That happens. Now, the biggest matchup we have of the day right now, it might sting a little, but it is FaZe versus Cloud9. Okay?
Oh, this is interesting. Cloud9's permaban has normally been Dust 2, but they banned, one of them banned Train. I don't know if that's Cloud9, but it looks like they are going to be playing Dust 2 in this matchup.
Yeah, I think that was the sentiment exactly. But I guess my last question for you guys is this, and Sean.
Well, I have one question. So Cloud9 picked Cash, which is the same thing FaZe picked against you guys, right?
Yeah.
And you guys had a lot. Oh, you guys picked it. I'm sorry. You guys had a lot of success at stopping the A main push. What would you guys suggest Cloud9 does to have that same success?
Yeah, so we did a lot of preparation since it was our pick, and we knew kind of like what they like to run, how they like to play. They seem to go in like the same spots, and when they do their A main control, they'll pre-smoke it, and we kind of read the round that they were going to do it when they were on that kind of low desperation buy, and so we were using pre-nades, pre-naded them both. We actually killed both of them with our nades, I think, and then on like another gun round, we pre-naded highway box, and then we were just
There's like 4 different rounds where we took players to 20 before seeing them.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to round this all out, and I'm just going to ask you guys straight up as, you know, you came fresh out of the server as of yesterday. If you're Cloud9 in this situation, how do you face up against FaZe?
FaZe is a pretty simple game plan. They're trying to create space. Guardian will play spots and try to make himself seem bigger than he is. A lot of times we just literally put the pressure on them that they probably didn't want, and it gave us a lot of kills in a lot of situations. So I'd say Cloud9 just needs to not try to get too desperate. They have the ability to outshoot these guys if they need to. Keep it pretty simple.
Shaz, closing thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much what he said. Like, if they do their preparation, as we did in our best of 3, they played pretty similar to how we prepared, and so we kind of expected the things that were going to happen. And, you know, they don't have a whole lot of time to just change everything that they do.
Yeah.
So I'm confident Cloud9 could do this.
Yeah, well, we will see in due time. The map selection has already been locked in. Of course, the vetoes, everything is there in place, ready to go for that last best of 3 of the day. So it's about time we kick it over to the desk. I think that's the sentiment. You good with that, Sean?
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
Awesome. Let's get out of here and hand it over to Mr. Richardson.
Thank you very much, Trace. Yes, awesome to have those guys there and getting us some extra insight ahead of a very big game. Now, let's think about this. Thinking caps on. The veto has gone down. I guess that's where we'll start. So I guess we should probably get some introductions in order. I am not alone at this desk, thank goodness. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson, and I am going to be joined by 2 beautiful chaps, the voices of Chad Sponge Birchall and Jacob Pim Finicky. Oh, I did it again. He's polluted my mind.
It was close. It was all right, Alex.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But yes, FaZe Cloud9, we have that rematch, and it is, of course, air quotes for the rematch, but either way, we have already seen FaZe tested by complexity to an absolute limit. That is, of course, why we got the opportunity to hear from them. Some of the same maps showing up as well, Chad.
Yeah, I'm sure that played into Cloud9's pick, right, seeing what complexity were able to do to them yesterday, but what's most interesting for me is the fact that we have Nuke coming through as the 3rd if we go the distance, right? Yeah. FaZe historically, not a map that we see them play, you know? It's not a map that's been their wheelhouse. Yeah, most times it is, right? And actually here they've removed Overpass in the first phase, and that Cloud9 have removed Train. So I'm curious to think if Train was still in the pool, if FaZe would have gone for that pick instead of Dust 2. But Dust 2 feels like, you know, that's a map that FaZe should have all the players to cover that quite easily.
So FaZe float their permaban in a major elimination match. Jacob, am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, it means they've been practicing it, right?
Exactly. It means that the team has involved and they've been trying to work on their map pool. I was looking into it because I was very surprised to see these maps coming in as well. The last time C9 played Dust 2 was the 28th of September in 2018.
Wow.
That is quite insane to think about. This Cloud9 lineup is not experienced when it comes to Dust 2, whereas if it goes to Nuke, the last time FaZe played Nuke was at ESL Belo Horizonte in 2018. I think that was the 16th of July or June or something like that.
Yeah, early.
It was a J.
It was definitely early.
Almost a year ago. So we're going to see maps that we normally never see any of these teams play right now.
I think what is a unique point here is as Cloud9 have played more games, they've started to look more comfortable. But FaZe, it seems like they're trying to be more strategic, which is definitely the path they have to go. And with Nico as the in-game leader, I'm sure Yanko is bringing in a lot more of that structure. But you can see how flustered they look in certain situations or unsure of themselves. When it is just 5-star players running defaults, you're making your own instinct plays and then looking at the radar and following what gap makes sense. But when you have protocols in place, when you have contingency plans, you're kind of following a blueprint that's been laid out for you.
But how much can truly have been fixed of FaZe's cash? Because you guys were heavily critical of FaZe's decision-making. You said they have an A main play, and then they stood like statues. That was your summary of cash from FaZe.
Yeah, when they got bullied off of being able to go into A main aggressively time and time again, they just sat on the side. They had Nico try and solo AWP, and Complexity did a fantastic job of swarming him. And then the retake at that point with a number disadvantage, it's quite difficult to get back into, especially if Nico doesn't get one kill. Right. So I think they're definitely going to adjust what they were doing, maybe be a little bit more structured on their A main takes.
And I know there was a conversation, the word middle was thrown around a lot, Jacob. There was an absence of mid-control from either side. I assume Cloud9 are probably going to be looking to exploit that.
Definitely. The good thing for FaZe, though, coming into Cash is it is a lovely map in terms of you can switch that blueprint off. You can just go in and play as 5 individuals and just play the typical FaZe game. So I would expect them to come out and look a lot different than what we saw from yesterday against against Complexity, because that's needed. You said it yourself, Chad. Yesterday they were getting absolutely outplayed by Complexity. They cannot let that happen against Cloud9 today. So I expect to see FaZe come out and be that unit of 5 individual star players and actually go off.
Well, the most star-studded individual, and this is what Peter from HLTV.org has coined him, I believe, the ultimate legend. This is his chance to get back into the top 8 of every single major. If he goes out here, that streak stops, and he was the last survivor. I think it was him and Crims, and then Crims didn't make it through last time round in London, and now Olaf is the sole survivor of that legacy.
I mean, I'll add more to that as well. Not only that, but also, let's not forget, Guardian. This man has been a staple of competitive Counter-Strike for so long now, seen as a star for years. He had his major trophy taken away from him 3 times, most recently versus a Cloud9 organization.
You ready for one little step further than that? Here at this event last year, the IM Katowice, Flusher and Fnatic broke the hearts of FaZe Clan as well in that 5-map thriller, right? So the Cloud9 name, Flusher in his clutches.
Oh my goodness.
We got Russian so Automatic. You know, there's a lot of revenge to be had here for FaZe.
This is essentially, this is like a MMA fight with mouse and keyboard. There's a lot of fire in the bellies of these players, and the last team talk's going on. Of course, Yanko on the microphone there talking to them. What do you reckon, what can you possibly be reminding them of coming into this one? You've had a day to prepare for this. Your cash got exploited and executed versus Complexity a day ago. You're going into it now in an elimination match. What's the chat?
You have 4 or maybe even 5 of the best aimers, you know, you can look at in Counter-Strike, right? This FaZe roster is so star-studded. Just stick to your guns and be confident in your plays, because that's what gotten them so far. That's what they built their bread and butter on. You know, just adding a couple of protocols, some defaults, some strategies, some mid-round contingencies, that should just make their play better and elevate them.
And for Cloud9, Jacob, I mean, this is a roster that have, even in this tournament, had ups and downs, a very close couple of losses, some very opposite of close losses, 16-0s, not pointing fingers towards Astralis, and of course a big win versus Hellraisers. So at the moment, we still don't really know where their ceiling is. Can they compete with FaZe?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think FaZe have been looking that scary, and considering Cloud9, you're right, they have been sending us a lot of mixed signals, and Flusher is a great example of that.
The mixed
I know, but mixed signals is the best thing.
Yeah, that's the worst.
But a great example of Cloud9's major run so far has been Flusher. He started out playing poor. He started out being one of the worst rated players in the tournament. Now, the last 3 games in those best of 3s, he's been absolutely outstanding. He's one of the highest rated players in the tournament right now, considering all the circumstances that is going on with Cloud9 with him right now. That is super impressive.
I see Rush warming up there.
Same as Automatic, right? You know, I remember doing a desk segment with Sean, and we were talking about how low in the stats Flusher and Automatic both were. Yeah. And they're 2 players now who have just skyrocketed up. They've had to put in some gargantuan performances to get them this far. And the cool thing about this team, you saw in the post-game interview yesterday, was that they talk about patience. They talk about staying calm and trusting each other. And I think they're going to be able to do that here.
Fist bumps are coming in. If you have just joined us, you are right in time. A best of 3 with an absurd amount of hype. Not only is the veto blowing our analysts' mind, hopefully the Counter-Strike will too. We're going to be playing Cash first. We've got Dust 2 to look forward to, and FaZe's permaban as a decider. Hopefully we see all 3. FaZe, Cloud9, they start on Cash. Just 1. We'll see the top 8. We'll see the Spodek. Your casters are locked and loaded. Let's get into it.
The stage is set so beautifully. FaZe and Cloud9, star-studded rosters on each side of the map. We're going to get right into it with this pistol round. Elimination for one of these teams. Top 8, legend status for the other. Nico. Going to get aggressive. He might get caught in no man's land. But they're going to get aggressive. Pop Flash comes in, and there's Rain with the opening 2 kills. A third, and Nico's going to chime in as well. Cloud9 is stopped before they can begin.
And that's a whiff Molotov as well from Flusher. A bit tentative towards the end, but yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The hyper-aggression through in main yields all the kills that FaZe could have asked for. The bomb's been dropped out in the open too, so even if Flusher can somehow get around here and get the first pick, it shouldn't be doable. This should not be possible. As well as he played in the previous best of 3. This is a bridge too far. Can't even get his hands on the bomb. Turned around a bit prematurely. Still a bit of time to play with, but also Adren's watching the back. So even if Flusher does pull away here, Adren's going to have him dead to rights.
Maybe.
Or not.
Maybe. Adren.
Dude.
Oh my god. Looking for his little toes. There it is, Flusher. He is such a scrappy little player, isn't he?
2 health remaining.
I mean, the odds of him winning this are insanely low.
20 seconds. Could get the drop on the first player actually up on the box. This is where things could get interesting. Oh, but the hitbox is always going to be a bit of a nightmare. He has finally got that kill under wraps. 8 seconds to go.
He needs to die. He needs to die. They could actually let him live if they wanted. Yeah, they can. Don't kill him until before the timer. This is an absolutely catastrophic mistake from Flusher. Now he's got to fight for survival and money, and he's got the first, but not the second. Nico's going to finish it off. That pissed around could not have gone any better for FaZe.
Absolutely. Even though they die, of course, they're completely fine replenishing those armors because now Flusher is screwed for cash. He's got $1,300.
It's actually, because he got, what, 3-4 kills, it's not the worst thing in the world. He does end up having a decent amount of money. I mean, it's going to hurt a little bit in the next round when they go for a buy, but it's not completely destroyed his possibility of mounting a fight in that round. But still, you have to admire. The Deaths just talked about it. FaZe on this map the other day against Complexity looked very lackluster on the CT side. They had the A main aggression and not much else. At least that time, at least in this first round of this map, that A main aggression works out beautifully.
FaZe relying on a monster performance from Nico to get past their previous best of 3. Maybe calling upon him again if things start to get a bit sketchy. Speaking of the man, he's up on the boost, but it's Rain that's going to chip in for the first one onto Rush. It is full Glocks at the end of the day for Cloud9. So in terms of their hope for getting anything done in this round, it's pretty low.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You might just be trying to see if you can find out how they're going to react to some kind of a situation, but I don't think you'll be able to gather any information that's going to give you any kind of massive edge moving forward. Obviously, all the research done prior. And yeah, I mean, FaZe had to lean heavily on Nico to win that series against Complexity. And likewise, Cloud9 has leaned heavily upon Flusher to deliver solid performances every step of the way. Here's Adren going to clean things up from behind. Flusher, after dying after the round end, getting no bonus money in the pistol, he has 3,700 to work with. That's an AK in armor.
Could dip down to a Galil if he wants to get some more grenades, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, he was one of the main stars, really, in their previous matchup. They had moments of Rush as well, especially on Cash. Rush was very good on the CT side from A main. He was pulling off some crazy plays.
He said it in the interview as well. He's like, I haven't had my best performance in a tournament, haven't had my best performance in this series, but he's like, I did my job. You know, I'm going to be a CT rock, and he delivered on this map specifically. We'll have to wait till the next half to see if he can repeat it. There is a tech pause as we saw Dren popping off one of his headphones to talk to the referee. Mic issues, I believe. Going to get those sorted out very quickly. We'll get back into the action ASAP. How are your pick'ems? There's a lot of people out there that are riding this pick'em wave. You're one of them, and you're living the dream. You're already set. You've got your 5. You're chilling.
Feels good, man. I had Renegades. Yes, the boys.
Yeah.
There you go.
That'll do it. I'm not sitting so pretty.
You need FaZe, right?
I do need FaZe for my pick'ems. However, this is a very difficult match in my head. You know, I like to do the predictions every morning. I avoided this one. One of the rare times in my life I've avoided giving a prediction. I don't really know where to go with it.
No, I'm completely alongside you. I just tweeted before that I think this is like a 50-50 match.
This feels very close, especially because, not least because both of these teams have shown us an abysmal level and a pretty solid level.
Yeah. It's been two very separate sides to the beast. I mean, we've seen FaZe, again, you know, Nico's had that huge performance, but then additionally, he was one of their bottom fraggers for a couple of maps. CloudNine, of course, have been ebbing and flowing. I would say that their trend has definitely been going upwards, though, as the games have progressed on. So coming through into this game, there is a huge element of uncertainty in the unknown. But flusha has been, as we've already kind of said, that he's been one of their main guys. I mean, he has been performing exquisitely in parts, like entry frags, holding sites, getting clutches, everything you could ask for from him.
Yeah, same with Keo. Keo's been solid. You can see him on your screen. Rush has had a pretty up and down affair. Automatic has recovered nicely in this event. But it does feel like, and it's weird to say this about CloudNine because they have such like that America's team image to them, to say like their top two performers that they've kind of leaned on are European.
Yeah, and I think Automatic, though, deserves some props as well, Moses, switching over to the AWP. I think he's actually been much better with the AWP than I was anticipating.
He's been super impressive to me, and I have a little bit of the benefit of being able to see him a little bit more than you do. I know at E-League, I thought he did a phenomenal job with the AWP, and it's not like putting it, you're not going to be comparing him to, you know, the top operators in the world, the Simples, the Devices quite yet. I think the comparison to Device is interesting just because they're primary riflers that are now, well, I mean, Device has already done it, but Automatic is kind of in that progression. But certainly it seems like if Automatic gets some more time with this AWP to kind of flesh out how he wants to play with the weapon and get comfortable with it in different angles, he seems like he's going to have a pretty quick learning curve. So I'm really interested to see where he's going to be at with that gun in, you know, 1 to 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, on the opposite side of things as well, there have been a couple of disappointing performances, and I was a bit shocked. I knew that Olof was having a bit of a rough go of it this event, but to see his stats, he was rock bottom for FaZe. I think he had something like 55 ADR over the duration of the tournament, which for a player of his caliber, that is, and obviously he hasn't been at his golden age performance for a while now. He's had his injuries, he's had his problems, but yeah, I was expecting an event to really remember from him, and it hasn't been the case yet.
Especially as the Death just mentioned, the ultimate legend. He's made legend stage of every single CSGO major, which is an incredible achievement. He's the last one to still be holding on to that. He even tweeted out, remember, he's also former teammates of Dennis in the Fnatic days. Dennis had his confidence issues, and even Olaf tweeted the other day, I need to step up. Which is, as you say, you know, being all the way at the bottom, an understatement. Although, to be fair on this team, you look at the names and it's like someone's got to be at the bottom, and you know, I don't think you can really fault anyone for necessarily being behind. Like, yeah, you're going to be behind Nico, one of the top 3 players in the world. Rain's been stellar at times. Guardian, you know, historically one of the best players. So yeah, every once in a while you're going to have one of those events or one of those games where you dip beneath them. I think everyone's just kind of shocked by the consistency of Olaf's quiet performances.
Sure, and plus, if FaZe are banging teams out left and right and they're getting easy wins, it's one thing to say, yeah, he's at the bottom of the stats, but when they're struggling, that's where the pressure mounts. That's where you're looking for your big players, the players that have been around the block. You know, we're talking about Get Right and Forest as veterans. Olaf Meister's certainly up there. He's been around the scene for quite some time.
Oh yeah, he's seen it all. And for me, you know, I've always talked about him in the context. He's one of my favorite players in global offensive history because he's done everything for the teams that he's been on. He's played in so many different styles and roles, and you know, he's been the hard carry in his 2015 and the glory days where he single-handedly was spurring comebacks and beating teams and winning series on his own. He's been more, you know, passive and supportive roles, as we've seen with him at times in this lineup. We've seen him use the AWP, seen him clutch. You've seen him with Tech-9s. Like, he's such an adaptable player, and I've always admired that in the various players that we have in the pro scene.
But maybe alongside Dennis, who just put in a hell of a best of 3, maybe this is where Olofmeister really steps things up when it counts. Because again, if you have just joined us, the winner of this goes to top 8. The loser is done. This is the very last game we have of this stage of the major. Next up will be the playoffs.
Next up, yes, it will. Next up, we get those quarterfinals. That'll be what I believe those begin next Thursday. 2 quarterfinals on Thursday in the Spodek, 2 quarterfinals on Friday, 2 semifinals on Saturday, and the grand finals. We will crown a major champion 1 week from now on Sunday. The technical issues have been resolved, so I hope you got some popcorn, some water, whatever it is you choose to eat and drink, and we're going to get back into the action. It is going to be a bye from CloudNine. The utility is all right. Nothing to jump up and down with joy for. But the 5 AK-47 still an element of danger. flusha if you recall, survived the pistol round but died after the round timer. Didn't get any bonus money, so he's stuck with just AK and armor.
The only player for Cloud9 to actually strike and get kills in the first 2 rounds as well. He's on 4, everybody else on 0. Of course, still very early on this best of 3, but let's see if he can add to that notch. Meanwhile, FaZe have themselves a pretty standard stack. It's going to be Olofmeister up on the catwalk side, joined alongside Nico. And the sweeper role of Rain, who's on highway but can quickly turn around. Flusher has got a dink for his troubles. He's down to 15, and now it's down to this crossfire that's been established so well by Olofmeister and Nico. They've got themselves 2 kills. MP9 close range doesn't necessarily need to move Olof, but he's going to get the kill anyway on Kirishima. And the player that was tagged up first is the final to fall. Guardian finds Flusher in the back.
Just talked about Olofmeister gets 3 kills with the SMG and then swaps out for an AK-47. That was a beautiful crossfire, a bait and switch almost. Olof taking contact, getting that first kill, a really, really tough angle to clear coming out of A main. Nico jumps up on top when the second player turns to take care of Olof. And that's a tough fight to win right there. Over towards the door, a very narrow crack. Well done from Olofmeister. 3-0, and with all the storylines that the desk highlighted, it's easy to lose track of former teammates going head-to-head. Flusha versus Olofmeister. They've won, what, I think Flusha has 3 majors, and they won 2 together.
Well, once close teammates, now adversaries, whatever happens. Swede is going to move through for one of these 2 teams. Kirishima will hope to keep the French dream alive, because unfortunately G2 and Vitality are both out at this moment. Speaking of the man, not too far off landing on that Desert Eagle shot, but Cloud9 just have pistols.
That's got to be a point of pride for Kirishima, especially considering he's been left out of a lot of these quote-unquote French super team lineups. He's been almost abandoned by that scene, it feels. Certainly proving his worth in Cloud9. Nico, I thought he looked like he knew. Smoke just covering up the legs of Rush, but he's going to adjust nicely. Zels is still waiting in door. Olof's at the off angle. This will be easily managed. Nobody falling quite yet for FaZe, unless Keo can land one of these deagle shots. It's not to be. Quickly 4-0 for FaZe, but finally you're going to have everything you want if you're Cloud9.
Yeah, full AKs and AWP available for automatic, which he has elected to go for. With Kevlar, additionally, can get a nade behind it in the form of a flashbang. So yes, this is where you're looking for Cloud9 to turn it up. Rush, Zelsis, automatic. None of them have a kill to their name in 4 rounds. Automatic with just 5 ADR. Now, will quickly change if he lands a couple of AWP shots. Let's see where he's maneuvering into for the time being. He's actually just posted up watching for a potential boost, but also having a quick spot across to Rain, who gets caught. He's been legged down to 18. Some significant damage traded, going in favor of Cloud9, but here come the grenades, and there's a stack of them towards Adren. He's lucky to just stay alive from all those nades that flew his way.
He really is. That's not bad way to apply pressure for Cloud9. Keo now waiting over in Sunroom. A boost going to come up, and this is part of that slow, methodical style that Flusha brings out as an in-game leader. Rush has talked about it in interviews, really enjoying this kind of play. Already out of mid. In the corners, Olof pushed in towards A main. Flusha knows, trying to spam back, and Rush is going to get close up. Timing of this is going to be difficult for him. Automatic has 1 flashbang he can drop over the box, but he's also got to hold connector with that AWP. Would have to take a risk to pull out the nade in this kind of a scenario, and Rush is actually just going to turn dry without it. Nico's got the spray. Actually, he's dinked up right through the box. There's the counter flash. Nico, no HP to take this fight.
Rush was also tagged though, so both players exchanged a headshot through the box. Somewhat of a stalemate at the end. Both pull away. Favor FaZe Clan though, because time is now of the essence. 25 seconds to go. Although most of the damage has been on the side of the CTs, if they can hold the line here, it's going to be a massacre. Cloud9 forced out into the open. Adren's going to hold down with the Orc, not able to get it done, and neither is Guardian. The Slovakian just misses out. Olofmeister and Nico going to get caught in transition. 8 seconds, and Nico can't stop this bomb from being planted. Rush finds the headshot, and welcome to the scoreboard, Cloud9. They finally get it done.
Great shots from Automatic with that AWP and all the hectic nature of that battle. I think Guardian, I don't know if he might be stopping them from swinging in towards Checkers, but if he puts that in the choke point, I don't know if Cloud9 can win this. They can't take any of those fights until about 10 seconds, so he might have just made a mistake on the Molotov there. That is a tough, grinded out round from Cloud9. Still off in Automatic's hands, and Guardian's got one as well. Quick flashbang, Flusher wants to go through, looks away, mid is smoked. He's got safety.
Love the aggression, the switch up in pace though from Cloud9, and Flusher will reap the rewards. Olofmeister peeks out of it too far, loses his head. And with that death, it spreads out the A side even more thinly. Nico feels compelled to take the trade, but he comes out worse for wear. Excellent start for Cloud9.
This is the ugly side of FaZe's style. Two players go down in individual battles, no chance of refrags coming out from the rest of the FaZe members, and now all of a sudden you're playing 1 minute and 10 seconds with a 2-man deficit. Gonna have to choose to stack a bomb site. Guardian's rotated over with his AWP. Not a lot of money left on the FaZe side of things. Guardian and Adren have a decent amount of cash if they can ever choose to save. And Cloud9 are actually adjusting towards the easier side of the map, towards that B bomb site. Adren rotating over, but I don't think he's gonna enter the bomb site. I think he wants to be able to save this weapon. Cloud9 need to make a decision without bleeding players away, and Adren's just going to toss the smoke Molotov, establish some kind of a defensive presence, and hope they call his bluff. Or excuse me, hope they don't call his bluff. But they are.
We'll see if they don't. Okay, I was about to say if they don't smoke the tree, which would have been craziness, and the AWP could really open things up. Looks like they're actually going to go for this. Adren's going to try the timing. The flashbang, though, from his teammate actually blinds him. You can see what he was going for, but it backfires.
It's one of those tough scenarios where when you're throwing that flashbang, you don't know exactly the best place to put it, but you could see that was actually a pretty shallow smoke from Cloud9, which means when Adren walked through that, he would have had at least a little bit of cover, at least towards the blue tarp, at least a little bit towards Checkers, and he might have been able to get something done. FaZe, Rain, and Guardian just have to back off as Cloud9 are going to get their second round.
Saved AWP and M4 will give FaZe some options, but considering Olof's down to $0, Nico below 1,000. Be curious to see if they do invest behind it. 2 rounds on the bounce that have now gone to Cloud9. Guardian has 4.5k, Rain on 2.3k. Adren could buy and Guardian could drop, so let's see
They're gonna buy.
if FaZe go for it.
I would be surprised if they don't buy. Guardian, yeah, drop over an M4 and AUG over to Olofmeister. That's been its own conversation to have.
Yeah.
FaZe clan in this meta and with all the, I guess, controversy and discussion around the AUG. Actually, they're not going to buy. That's actually kind of surprising to me. The lowest rate of buying AUGs is FaZe clan of the entire event so far.
Yeah, Nico's been pretty outspoken regarding the AUG, hasn't he? And I don't think we've seen him have it a single time thus far.
Well, they are fighting for their tournament life, so that might tell you something.
Read between the lines.
Actually, interestingly enough, Astralis is pretty far down on that list as well, in terms of one of the teams who buys the AUG less frequently. But they went 3-0, so who cares?
Yeah. And some of those matches, like the 16-0, didn't really get to see too many of their CT rounds.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't even really think about that.
Oh, I want to say Zelson's got to be careful. Olofmeister's got 2. He's also got the AK, but Automatic wall bangs him down, stops this nightmare. But it may be re-picking up some speed because Cloud9 are not out of the woods just yet. They still find themselves a player down. I think Rush definitely has seen him now.
He's also heard the scope on Highway. Guardian comes back for it, a tough situation to manage. And Adren is pushed up in Sunroom. Just the USP, and look, Keo, he's clearing everything. Great reaction. He's dinked immediately. The bomb is so far away, and so is Automatic, though, so they can't really take advantage of this. And it leaves a lot of space for Guardian to get close towards mid with an AWP. He can cut off the bomb right here, right now. Automatic looking, is he going to be aware? Yes, but there's nothing he can do. Molotov going to go on the ground. That would definitely stop things, but Rain just waiting patiently. And there's an Olafmeister round. 2 kills with the P250 up close to steal one away from Cloud9. This is part of the result as well. You know, we mentioned Rush and the style that flusha likes to bring out, the slow and calculated. You're pretty passive in the early stages of the round. That's kind of one of the elements of danger that it exposes you to. It allows Olafmeister to get a pretty advanced position without any kind of knowledge of it. So once in a while, you will see those kinds of plays really hinder C9.
I mean, this has knocked them back quite a few steps. It was looking like they were moving forward. Galil, lack of grenades on Kiyoshima and Rush, and if they lose this round, then FaZe are in great shape to start picking up some rounds for themselves. Guardian, though, 50% of his health evaporates through the smoke.
He'll be all right with that. He's got the AWP. He can play far back from here. Still very passive from this Cloud9 offense. And you can see as well, FaZe holding on to a decent amount of utility. Still 4 Molotovs, excuse me, is smoke. Plenty of flashes and nades for when a hit eventually does come in. Rain getting some information. He's been relatively peaky in this connector. Saw him flirting with Rush in the previous round. Olaf's gonna get aggressive.
Just as that Molotov subsides, but Zelsis slightly behind, using the wall as sanctuary. Olaf gonna close that door behind him. A lot of time has been going down in amongst all of this flirtation, though. 35 seconds remain. There's only 1 smoke to play off here, Moses. This is dangerous.
Especially with the Molotovs in hand. Nico has one of those at the A-bomb site. Olaf has an AG grenade. There's the Molotov. That could slow things down. Olaf is forced out of position. They're looking towards mid. No one's really covering that. Rain has gone passive. They can peek up. That would be a big fight for flusha to win. Does damage. Nico with the AWP. He recovers in time. Another chance, and he's got that as well. No plant gonna go down. FaZe ain't gonna let that happen. And Automatic, the last one left, but he can't get away. He needs to save this weapon. It's not gonna happen. Nico with 4 kills on the defense. This is a much better looking FaZe than what we saw yesterday.
Absolutely. Nico showing he can play with the AWP, the M4, AK, whatever you put at him. Unless it's an AUG. You'll drop that straight away.
Everything except the AUG.
But who needs an AUG when you got AWP skills this good? He will hold by himself. Also got an assist on the other player, so he had so much impact in that round. 6-2, and as I mentioned earlier, Cloud9's economy was on the balance. And it's gone completely away from them. And they're going to have pistols, only 1 Desert Eagle in play. That's it. And that's in the hands of flusha.
That's a really cool round from Nico, because I don't necessarily mind this double op setup whatsoever from FaZe, but at times, especially on Cash in the safe bomb site, Nico's op has been less than impressive. So it's good to see him get that kind of round under his belt right there to establish that he can wield it and be deadly with it. Just so it sticks in Cloud9's mind. Rain, gonna hang out in mid. He's looking for that first peek from Rush. He's got it. It's an easy one. 1 Deagle in hand of flusha, and it's now on the ground, and Rain, too much damage that he's taken, gonna back away.
Flashbang, absolutely spot on to yield the kill on Automatic, and Kiyoshima's given this position away. He's gonna go the same fate. 7-2, Cloud9 will have a bye.
It's so much money on FaZe now. Guardian's got 12,000 or 11,000, I should say. Nico's sitting at close to 9,000. So plenty of money in the coffers should they run into any trouble. Before this event, we kept hearing out of the FaZe camp, and Guardian said in an interview that was, you know, the best boot camp they've ever had. Probably had him personally feeling like it was the best FaZe has ever been prepared for an event. I talked about Yanko saying the level that Nico was at was incredible heading into this major, and that FaZe was going to have a strong performance. We obviously haven't seen that yet. We've heard teams a lot of times kind of talking themselves up before the major. Now for FaZe, it's about walking the walk.
Absolutely. That's a small gap in that smoke, which allows Rush to land the headshot. Oh, he's going to get 2. Nico gets finished off. Additionally, looked like you'd have some more damage on the way. Automatic's been tagged, but the bomb's going to get planted nonetheless. There's a Dren from Connector. There's the power of the Org in a nutshell. Long range, going to get the better of Flusher.
Are they going for this? Olaf had backed off, making it look like a save. If he peeks mid, he could spot Kiyoshima. I don't think he knows. There's the peek out. Kiyo has the angle for the repeat. He knows exactly where Olaf is. When does he take his shot? There it is. Wanted to see the head. Wanted to see the whites of his eyes. And a Dren now going to slowly back away. Would love to try and save that op, even though they have a lot of money. No reason to reinvest in an op if you don't have to. Just going to see if there's any response or reaction to that smoke. Waiting for the spam to come through before he knows it's safe. No one from Cloud9 there to watch that. They get closer. It's a third round for C9 to end a 3-round winning streak from FaZe, but still a big lead on the CT side. Saw it from Nip. Big lead on the CT side can be tough to overcome, seeing as how this map has been so T-sided, especially, remember, Complexity, what, they got 11 rounds, I think, on FaZe on their offense?
Sure. Yeah, this can be a real nightmare of a CT half. And it comes down to the economy more often than not, but speaking of which, Cloud9, yes, they've got a round under their belt, but they're not exactly looking great in terms of money. Maybe one of the reasons they didn't want to chase too much onto a Dren at the end there.
That last round, though, they picked up the pace of aggression. That wasn't the slow and calculated Flusha style. It was much, much faster from Rush. So mixing a different look in, and that yielded success. Now, down a player as Zelsys takes an aggressive peek at door. Cloud9 going to be forced away for the moment.
Starting to clump up in Garage. They already have Kiyoshima making moves over on the B side of the map. They may join him momentarily. Don't have mid control though, so can't bust out of vents. And Automatic has found Olofmeister. That's going to alleviate some of the pressure that was beginning to mount on Cloud9. They really need to strike twice and double up, but there's Nico regaining the player advantage now for FaZe. Does Kiyoshima expect the Dren to be on the right side again? Just flicks across to his head. Lightning reaction speed, and 2 of the 3 of the terrorists are over on B. Meanwhile, they do have some interference play in the form of Automatic. He's been found out. This is going to keep the player of Nico interested towards the car. It's a 1v2 on the B side. Once they start to push in, Guardian needs to land a shot right here, right now, and he's got the first, going to be looking for the second, but Kiyoshima won't allow him to while this bomb is in such an awkward position. It's going to waste a few seconds, allows the CTs to get that much closer. Kiyoshima going to plant on default. Meanwhile, Rain's moving in from vents, and up close is going to be Nico. Can Kiyoshima pull this off? This would be a massive round for Cloud9 to capitalize on, but Rain is going to deny them. And FaZe breaks straight back again with their 8th round.
Yeah, really good 2 versus 1. Really good play in that B bomb site, even picking up the second op to bring it forward for Guardian, who fell. That's a nice round from FaZe, and you could see they're just playing back. They're just saying, if you're going to play this slow, that's fine. We'll just sit back. We have the double op set up. We'll watch all the angles. Nico prepared for Rush to kind of make a play over towards mid, waiting from around the boxes. And this time it's Cloud9 who's getting into fights with no players able to trade it out. Just individual duels, and that's what FaZe loves to have. I even like the push, even though it didn't work. Olofmeister trying to push late in towards door to get some information. And that's going to be a little bit of warning bells for Cloud9. They're going to say, all right, well, they're willing to flank. They're willing to get aggressive in a 5-on-4. Nico far back with an op. There's 2 flashes, no smoke for Cloud9. So Nico, he could have a chance if he can properly dodge these flashes, and he's far enough away. I don't think it'll affect him for too long. Olaf as well on highway can transition up very quickly because Rain's going to get aggressive in vents. There's the run boost. There's the tag. Nice shot from Nico, but no finishing kill. That's the bomb getting into the site. They're trying to distract long enough for the plant to go down. Zelsys is burning, and the plant doesn't go down. It stopped at the last moment. And that's everything Cloud9 had in this round, was just to get that plant. Now there's no chance of it.
Yeah, he was a mere millisecond away from getting that bomb planted. He wanted to risk burning alive for the plant to get them more grenades through into this round. Didn't quite work out for them. The worrying sign for Cloud9 here is that no one's really performing. I mean, no one's really stepping up. No one's really having a performance where you would say, okay, yeah, they can rest off this guy. Flush has been the closest to that, but even then, remember, flash in the pan.
4 of those kills came from the pistol round,
yeah,
which was him in a one-on-4 situation. That had really no chance of him winning it. Now they pick up the pace. Now they're tired of sitting back. They want to get into the action, but Olaf, God bless. Dennis stepped up earlier after a tough start. His former teammate Olaf Meister, also a very tough event for him so far, and he even tweets out he needs to step up, and he has. 15 and 7 for Olaf. And remember as well, he had the 2 kills with that P250 close-up that allowed FaZe to make sure this game stayed in their advantage. He's the one who got them started on this 5-1 win streak.
A lot of history between these two organizations, not necessarily with these lineups, of course. So much on the line. Kiyoshima takes the grenade damage. Straight to the head. Down to 56, he will fall. FaZe already in solid shape, not just on this half, but this round additionally. Adren playing in checkers behind the box, has Guardian helping him out. Nico with the secondary AWP on highway. That looked like it may have hit him, but apparently not. And Automatics can use that advantage. Actually pushes straight into Connect. Oh, he whiffs his chance. That was maybe the road back into this round.
That was such a huge kill to get, and he fails. Guardian in a tough spot. Adren's gonna peek out, gets 1. There's 1 more coming in. Celsius gets the sight. Automatic's not gonna miss 2 in a row. Smoke gone down in the choke point. Nico up top. Gonna try and hit the timing shot on Celsius. There is a smoke on Automatic. He can't flick down fast enough, and there is the smoke. But Olaf's got the flank. 3 kills in the round, and it's all on the young player. Can he deliver again? He's been great in clutches, but the time is not his friend. He has to stick this. Again, FaZe may just let him live until the bomb, or until the round timer runs out. How aggressive does Olaf want to be? Not at all is the answer, waiting for Celsius to come pick up the AWP. Celsius does everything he can in a sure loss. But Cloud9 need rounds.
I was a bit surprised that Olaf didn't push him. There's only a couple rounds left in the half, and there's a lot of money on the side of the CTs, but at the end of the day, FaZe get the win, don't they? So I was a bit nitpicky.
I kind of was too. I don't know if Olaf necessarily thought about this, but it could be one of those things if you want to go back to sort of the thought. Guardian might have some trouble. It might be something where Olaf was kind of reading the economy situation in his head prior to that situation and just saying if they want to force buy around 1 AWP, they should feel more than welcome. You know, we'd rather take a round with 1 AWP and 4 pistols than 5 AKs, so no need to risk his weapon. Guardian's going to win that fight. That's the gun down, and that's the gun down out in the open. Adren turns from the flash. Decent damage, but he's going to fall. The armor of Celsius helping him out in a big way.
Still just the AWP to play with, though. And Guardian is watching the tight angle, does miss out on his chance, but information gathered. And now Rain from the side can strike with 1. It's enough to funnel Cloud9 away from a fast B hit. Elsewhere, Rush, or pardon me, Flusher is lurking in Squeaky, just trying to keep 2 of these CTs over here. Now Nico's found him. They can retreat back over to the B side of the map. Rain pretty much stuck in this position. He knows there's an AWP over on B, so can't afford to peek too many times. Does get caught. Now Guardian's actually alone. This is doable for Cloud9. He could get caught out in the open. He does! Cloud9 have to go and pick the bomb up, though. This is an absolute disaster. The site was theirs, ripe for the taking, and now Olaf Meister has him on the cross. This round could be going out of control. Olaf just needs to survive. He knows his teammate of Nico's already on B side, and that's the round done. Purely off the basis of not keeping control of the bomb. Rush now has to just plow onto the site. See if he can get this kill onto Nico, who's playing Ring Around the Rosie, a game of hide and seek, but it's deadly for Rush. He's been found, and Nico will get faced to an 11th round.
Yeah, that round, Guardian makes a big blunder, but the fact that the bomb was so far away bails him out of that being the highlight of the round. Cloud9 have to retreat. Olaf and Celsius both hear each other, and that causes them to freeze and just choose more time off the clock. Allows Nico to get there. That could have been Cloud9's way back into this game. Now still stuck on 3. They might have been up to 4. They might have had a chance to have a respectable T side, but it's not looking that way. 1 round left for Cloud9 to gain as much breathing room as possible. Here we go, through the smokes. They've really picked up the pace. They've had success with it in the past. The slow strategies haven't worked. Nico's gonna get one, Zelsis down low, and Rain's already here in the flank. This could be so much trouble. Kio's in middle. I don't think he heard Rain though.
Kio's busy trying to take down Guardian, and it does get it, but now Rain can show his hand. Pouring down onto Cloud9. Kiyoshima gets his second from Garage, but very isolated. Flusha has control of the bomb. They may not realize he's here just now.
It'll be really interesting. Kio's gonna go door. I was wondering if he would wait for that smoke. He's gonna have a double flank, and the spam even puts him back a little bit. Smart play from Rain. Flusha already knew he's there, so he's not giving anything up. Olaf is gonna go for the big flank. So all of a sudden, Cloud9, this has turned into a very, very strange round for them. Kio's got to keep his eyes on 2 locations, and Flusha still not able to move out of quad.
Oh, Nico too premature, saw the barrel of the gun, maybe assuming that Flusha was going to run across, but Flusha is going to peek him with the bomb. It's out in the open. Kiyoshima can't get it done either. And FaZe get a phenomenal 12-3 half on their CT side.
That is, yeah, fantastic. You had it right. 12-3 dominance out of FaZe. This is a different FaZe than we've seen throughout the event. Nico at 17, Rain and Olaf at 16. We'll see if they can close it out when we come back.
Never look down.